Narrator. Calm, eerie tone. Are they true stories? Or thoughts dreamt up by delusional minds? Tales of alien abductions are rarely taken seriously, often dismissed as wild fantasies from obscure magazines and late-night radio shows. But every once in a while, a story emerges that defies logic. A respected professor at the University of North Dakota, Dr. John Salter Jr., and his son John III, were driving along a lonely stretch of Route 61 in Wisconsin on March 20th, 1988. It was 6:25 p.m. when everything changed. An hour and a half later, they found themselves traveling in the opposite direction, with no memory of what had happened during the missing time. Utterly confused, they stopped for the night. The next morning, a disc-shaped craft appeared in front of their truck, dome-like, glowing metallic and eerily silent. Then just as suddenly, it vanished. Months later, both father and son began to recall fragments of that missing time. They remembered small humanoid figures, around 4 feet tall, with thin limbs, large heads, and slanted eyes. A taller being, that nearly 6 feet, communicated telepathically, leading them into a clearing where the craft awaited. Inside, they were seated in strange reclining chairs, like those in a dentist's office. Dr. Salter recalled feeling a painless implant placed inside his nostril and injections near his neck and chest. He described no fear, only a sense of protection. Afterward, his body changed. His hair and nails grew twice as fast. His lifelong scar began to fade, and strange red welts would appear on his neck and chest, right where he claimed the implants were. His son didn't share all the same effects, except one, he inexplicably grew 1.5 feet taller after age 23, years after he'd stopped growing. Dr. Salter remained calm, rational, and skeptical, which made his testimony even more disturbing, because this time the witness wasn't a random dreamer, but a respected professor. It was supposed to be an ordinary morning for forestry worker Robert Taylor in Livingston, Scotland. On November 9th, 1979, he ventured into the Deshmont woods with his dog to inspect a remote area. Around 10:15 a.m., he stumbled upon something extraordinary. In a small clearing floated a dark metallic sphere about 20 feet wide, partially transparent, as if camouflaging itself among the trees. Without warning, 2 smaller spheres dropped from the larger one. They rolled toward him, making wet, plopping sounds as their spiked surfaces hit the mud. The devices latched onto his legs, tugging him toward the main craft. A sickening smell, like burning brakes, filled the air. Then everything went black. When Robert awoke, the objects were gone. His dog barked wildly nearby. His clothes were torn, his legs bruised, and his voice completely gone. He crawled through the forest until he could stand and run back home, terrified and trembling. To his surprise, the police took his report seriously, treating it as a physical assault. At the site, they found his van and strange circular impressions in the grass, surrounded by 40 smaller holes, matching Robert's account of the spiky spheres. Experts tried to recreate the marks using forestry equipment, but couldn't. His torn trousers were examined by forensic scientists in Edinburgh, who confirmed the damage matched his description. To this day, the Deshmont Woods incident remains the only UFO encounter ever officially investigated as a criminal assault in the UK. August 13th, 1975. U.S. Air Force Sergeant Charles L. Moody was parked in the New Mexico desert, watching a meteor shower at 1:15 a.m. But then, something else appeared. A glowing metallic disc 50 feet long, descended silently from the sky, hovering just above the ground. Moody's car wouldn't start. He heard a high-pitched humming, then saw movement inside the craft. Suddenly, his entire body went numb. Moments later, the craft shot into the sky and vanished. When Moody looked at his watch, it was 3 a.m. He had lost an hour and a half. Over the following days, he developed a strange rash and terrifying nightmares. Through self-hypnosis, he began to recover his missing memories. He recalled 2 humanoid figures in tight black suits approaching his car. He tried to resist, then blacked out. He awoke on a table inside a sterile metallic room. A smaller being stood above him, communicating telepathically. It told him to behave, and suddenly he could move again. He was shown the ship's control room, filled with glowing rods and crystal-like structures. The being explained that their mothership orbited 400 miles above Earth, and that they wouldn't contact humans again for 20 years. Moody passed a lie detector test, never sought money, and never changed his story. So, if it was a hoax, what did he have to gain? August 20th, 1976. 4 art students, Jim and Jack Weiner, Chuck Rack, and Charlie Foltz, set out for a canoe trip along Maine's Allagash Waterway. By August 26th, they were camping at Eagle Lake and decided to go night fishing. To guide them back, they built a massive bonfire that could burn for hours. Out on the still water, Chuck suddenly felt watched. He turned and froze. A bright, glowing sphere hovered silently above the lake, drifting toward them. Charlie flashed his flashlight, and the orb stopped midair. Then a beam of light shot down, hitting the water, illuminating everything beneath. The sphere moved again, this time toward them. They paddled furiously, the beam caught them. Everything went white. When they came to, they were on shore. The bonfire burned to embers. What felt like minutes had been hours. Years later, after one of the twins suffered a head injury, he underwent hypnosis. Soon all 4 men did, separately. Each described the same thing, being taken aboard a craft, examined by large-eyed beings with long, thin fingers. They were studied, probed, and then released. Their accounts were nearly identical, down to the smallest detail. Even the hypnotist himself said afterward, "I believed them. After working with those men, I was scared. I still am." The Allagash abduction remains one of the most famous and well-documented alien abduction cases in history. Alien abductions may sound unbelievable, but as these stories show, some encounters are too strange, too real, to simply dismiss. What if these are not just tales, but warnings? What if they're watching, not from the stars, but from right above our skies? Next time you gaze into the night, ask yourself, who's really watching who? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to True Tale Files, where every Sunday we explore the darkest, strangest mysteries of our world. Stay curious, stay cautious, and remember, the truth is closer than you think.